I have been wanting to make this video for maybe under a year now. A good amount of time that I've been wanting to make this video. I have been wanting to share my story, kind of my journey, how I start to come to believe in God and turn to Jesus and that whole process. My reasoning for wanting to make the video in the first place is because I feel my story is pretty relatable, very common. I feel like a lot of people are going through what I went through. And so I feel as if me sharing my story can be a good thing for those that are currently going through what I went through, and them being able to see how I got out of it, how I have improved, how God has changed my life, how Jesus has really saved me from my struggles. I feel like that is something I want the world to know. I want others to be able to look back at my story and know that there is hope. So yeah, this video is going to be about me, my story with God, and how Jesus saved my life and how he freed me from my addiction. I feel like I'm a pretty bad storyteller. Everything that I say is kind of out of line or just jumbled or just like here and there. I feel like my storytelling can get kind of confusing. So I hope that with this video, that doesn't happen. Yeah, I hope that I am like as clear as possible as to what I went through and how I got over it. Hi, guys. My name is Brandon, and I am a recovering porn addict. That is really embarrassing to say, but I feel like you need a proper introduction of who I am and why I'm saying what I'm saying today. So, to kind of start off from square one and how this all happened, it all pretty much began just as a young boy, a young, healthy, natural boy that was curious about the world and my body. So back in sixth grade in middle school is when I first learned about what porn was. I believe it was something that my friends kind of like talked about amongst each other. And the more I heard about it, I was like, what's that? And then I decided to just look it up on my own because I was curious. I'm like, what are they talking about? Boys. um, Ever since then, from sixth grade, the more I went through middle school, and as I went through high school, it was just more of like an everyday thing. And with the porn came naturally like masturbation. You know, this is a struggle that I believe many people have. I was going to say young men, but it's definitely not just men. I know that even women go through this, and I know this is very relatable, very common. This is something that I just want to bring to light because I know this is a topic that I guess us as a society never really talk about. I hardly ever see it talked about online or just out there in the world. And everyone's just kind of to themselves about it, scared, tucked in, like, don't show this part of me, don't show this side of me. But I feel like it really is something that needs to be discussed because of how severe and serious it can be, you know. I don't know if you guys know Boot Gang. back from, dude, I don't even know how long ago that was, when he would go into barber shops, he would get a haircut, and then he would run out the store. He'd be like, boom gang. Yeah, like just get the haircut for free. The reason I bring him up is because now, if you haven't seen lately, he has, I don't know if it's a new Instagram page, but his Instagram page now is called Holy Gabbana. He has had a transformation with Christ himself. He actually met and encountered the Holy Spirit while he was in jail. And from that moment on, he turned his life to Christ. And I really think it's like a very beautiful story. I really like the way that he has had. I really like the way that God has worked through that man and all the good stuff that Holy Gabbana is now posting on his channel. Actually, before recording this video, I was on Instagram and I saw his latest video, which was talking about how so many people are DMing him saying, I'm struggling with lust. How do I get over this? I want to stop, but I can't. I feel stuck. What do I do? And when I saw that video, that just kind of helped me sit down right now, get the phone out, turn the camera on, turn the mic on, and just start talking. Because this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But like recording myself like this and talking is very scary. Um, I, I'd say I'm a pretty shy person. I wouldn't normally do this, but this is something that I definitely want everyone to know about. So that really helps push me to help me make this video. Okay, back to the real story. It was, remember, like middle school that I got introduced to porn and like masturbation, and then that was like from that moment on, like it never stopped. It just went on for like years. It was it wasn't until my sophomore year of college, back in 2024. I know it's like 2025 right now, but it was 2024 is when I stopped. I'll get to there. I'm jumping ahead, but like from I struggled with porn and masturbation and lust from like 6th grade to like sophomore year of college. And it was something that didn't feel wrong to me. It didn't, it just felt natural. Like it wasn't something that I thought about like being looked over or something. What? I don't know what I meant to say there. But how I want to tie like this problem to God. All my life, I've grown up in a Catholic household. My mother is Catholic, and all of us have been raised Catholic. My father is Catholic. We have all kind of been raised with that notion. She would teach us, like, you know, good things, bad things. Like, hey, look, this is God, this is who He is. Took us to church on Sundays. Now, Sundays when I was little and I would go to church, I did not pay attention at all. Not one bit. And I never really like thought about the idea of a God or like God in general. To me, just growing up with that, it was always, oh yeah, there's a God there. There's a God up there. There's a creator. I was like, for me, that was literally it. I was like, oh yeah, he's there. Okay, moving on. Like there was no extra thought. There was no thought of who is he? What has he done? What is he gonna do? Like none of that. As a child, I didn't think about any of that. I don't remember like when I started thinking about that. I know prayer has always been a big part of my life. Praying for meals with my family around the table. Every meal that we eat together, we pray for. Every time we eat food, our mom is always like, "Don't forget to pray for your food." Um, every time we all get in the car to go somewhere, she's always like, "Persinate," or however you say it, bro. I do not speak Spanish. I don't even know what she's saying. All I know is that it means to pray. But yeah, so she tells us like to pray, like whenever we get in the car. Whenever she gets in the car, she has her own prayer time. So, and every time we go to sleep, we pray. Um, so yeah, prayer has just always been this thing in our family that we kind of got used to as kids. That has always stuck with me. So going back on how I never really thought about God in the first place, the very first time, or one of the earliest times that I feel like I truly encountered God was during quarantine, which was not too long ago, but it was during quarantine. One day, one night during quarantine, I was sitting at my desk, at my computer desk, watching anime. Like I remember this so vividly. I was watching Bunny Girl Senpai. I was watching Bunny Girl, and out of nowhere, I just started thinking about like what it would feel like if nothing existed. I was like, what if humans never existed? What if the world never existed? What if the universe never existed? Like, what would we feel like? Like, what would that blank emptiness be? You know, that really scared me as a kid. And from there, I started thinking about death. I'm like, what is death? What happens after death? Like, is there really nothing after we die? Because at that point, remember, I never paid attention in church or thought about God at all. So I, I never like thought about an afterlife. So to me, back then, death was just like it. Like, you know, like in that moment, I was thinking, once you're dead, you're done. Like, you won't ever experience anything ever again because your body is dead, you know? And that really scared me as a little kid. Little kid. How long was that? Like 4 years ago? Like 16, 7? No. Whoa. What year is it? 2025. Yeah. Like 16, 17. Oh, wow. That wasn't that long ago. 16, 17 years old. That was when I was having that thought. And I was sitting at my desk at night watching Bunny Girl as I'm thinking about this. And so, like, I start to focus less and less on the show. And now I'm just more in my own head, like getting scared. Is it raining? Oh, my blinds are just moving. Anyways, so in that moment where I was really scared, like about death and about just nothing existing, I didn't know what to do. I was super scared. I didn't like the way I felt at all. I was kind of panicking. I don't know if it was like a panic attack, but I was panicking pretty bad. So like the only thing in that moment I thought of doing was praying. I immediately paused the show, put my hands together, and started praying. I don't like I was kind of rocking back and forth in my chair, I think, but like I was praying to God. I was like, God help me. Like I was just like really scared. I don't even remember what I said. All I know is that I prayed, and like I think I started crying. I don't remember. All I know is that I was really scared. I was getting in my own head a lot, like pretty bad. So then I prayed. I do my prayer. That's done. I sit there for like a couple seconds. I like recollect myself. I start to feel a little better. And then I'm like, okay. I click play on the show again. So now I'm watching Bunny Girl again. I'm just continuing watching my anime. Maybe like 30 seconds later, I have like just this, what I would classify now as just like this feeling of immense love, you know? I felt so relieved, so like overwhelmed with love. I didn't even know what was happening. I All I felt was like just relief from that fear of death that I was having. I couldn't stop smiling because of how happy I was. How happy I was that I got over that fear like after praying. Like I don't know if I truly understood at that moment that that was God, cuz now I 100% fully believe that that was like my first true encounter with God, and I just didn't know it. I didn't think about it. And but I do remember that moment very vividly. And I would say that was like one of my very first encounters, if not my first, with God. And there was like just this childlike feeling of being so engrossed in love that I couldn't stop smiling. I was just there like smiling, like to myself smiling watching the show. It was really nice. Yeah. I think about that moment a lot sometimes. Yeah, I don't really remember much. I don't know if I can say much about my journey and walk with God from a couple years ago because I never really thought about God that way. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, he's there, and then just went on about my life. And it wasn't until one moment in high school, my senior year, where I like my mindset switched kind of like a little bit, like even just a little bit. It switched. This is gonna be a really embarrassing story, but I feel like this is a crucial part as well. Back in high school, during my senior year was 2022 or like 2021, 2022, and that was when we came back into the world. That's when the quarantine stopped. So for 2022 of high school, we were allowed back on campus. We were no longer quarantined inside from COVID. We were no longer restricted to inside of our houses. Like as long as we had our mask, we were able to go to school now, back in senior year. And like long story short, during my entire time, like those 2 years in quarantine, I had lost 50 pounds. I was working out. I was doing pretty great with fitness, and I looked a lot skinnier. Yeah, I was gonna say slimmer and skinnier, but yeah, I looked a lot skinnier than I was, and I was really happy with the way I looked after I started working out in quarantine. So I guess in my senior year of high school, I started to get like more confident with girls, and like there was this one girl I met in senior year that I I almost slept with her in that moment, like as it was about to happen. One of my thoughts was, I don't care if I have sex before marriage. I don't care if that's not what God wants. Like looking back on it, I'm really surprised I had that thought. Like it just feel like that thought popped in there, like in the middle of this act happening, I thought of God. And thankfully, thank God, nothing happened. I did not sleep with her. I was looking back on it, I'm very happy that did not happen. I'm glad it like got cut off cuz we didn't yeah, I did not sleep with her. We did not do that. And looking back, I'm very grateful that I'm still me, I guess. I don't know. I've never told this story to anyone. So this is pretty awkward saying it now. So forgive me if my wording is very off. But that was also a big turning point for God or with God. Looking back on it, I truly think He helped me or like He stopped me from doing sex before marriage. I know a lot of people these days, they don't care about sex before marriage. Me personally, that is something that I truly want to withhold. I don't know the proper words. I'm not that good with English. to me, like the act of sex is so intimate. It's like you are giving up your entire body to one other person, to someone else. So why wouldn't you want that person like to be the person you want to spend the rest of your life with? Like, why would I not want that to be the girl I want to spend the rest of my life with? Why would I want to do that with someone else? You know, that's how I see it. That's how I see sex and marriage. Not really marriage, but sex. I don't want to just sleep with people. Sex is not like the most important thing in the world to me. Celibacy, is that what it's called? Or or I choose not to? I think that's what it's called. Who knows? I don't know English. But yeah, waiting until marriage for sex, that is truly something I still want to hold true to. I don't know if I kind of have this pride with it. But like I'm very like proud of myself for, or like just happy that I'm sticking out as long as I am right now. I know a lot of people, they don't care about it. They're like, dude, you don't have sex, you loser. You know. But no, I guess I just see it differently. I don't see it as this necessity. This, oh, if you don't have sex, you're not living life. Like that just sounds crazy to me. And I don't know if that comes from just like the upbringing that I've had, or if it's just like my own developed thought from God. Maybe God gave that to me in that moment in high school when he stopped me. He's like, nope, no more, you know? But yeah, that was another very strong encounter with God where I look back and I'm like, thank you, big dog. Thank you. Even then, from that moment, um, porn was still in my life. Porn and masturbation, that wasn't like even something that I thought about like letting go. Even though I was so like even though from that moment on I was like no sex before marriage. Like e- even though there was that mindset, there wasn't a mindset of porn bad, don't do porn, you know. I feel like I've mixed this up all the way and I'm losing track myself. And from kind of that moment forward, from high school, I started to kind of have an interest in God more. I wanted to know about who he was. I wanted to learn more about God. There was this little desire to start reading the Bible. Growing up as a young little boy, I was a terrible reader. I hated reading. So I always had the mindset, no reading, no reading. I hate reading. So, of course, when I started wanting to read the Bible, I was like, do I really want to read? So I started out very small. I started out very small. I ended up telling my mom that like I wanted to start reading the Bible, and she actually gave me hers. I was very surprised that she gave me her copy. I was like, "Whoa, thank you." You know, it was like she was knighting me. Like, here you go, my boy. Let me get it real quick. This beautiful leather colored what? Leather cover thing. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, my finger. Oh. Here it is. This this leather bound Holy Bible. New International Version, NIV. I love this version. I might be biased, but I love it. I kiss my Bible all the time. I don't know if it's weird. I don't care if it's weird. I like doing it. It's like how I end my prayer. But yeah. So yeah, that's the Bible my mom gave me. I love that thing. I love the way it looks, the way it reads, like the spacing of the letters, super readable. And so when I first got that Bible, I took it straight with me to college. Back in 2022 was when I first started college. I had it with me in my dorm, and to kind of help me set a goal of being persistent in starting reading, I brought it with me on my bed. Like I kept it with me, and I slept with the Bible next to me on my bed. And so my thought was, just wake up, read for a little bit, and then start the day. So again, going back to me despising reading, I wanted to read for long times, but I couldn't. So I started myself slow. Literally, I think the very first time I read one verse, closed it and put it down for like a day or a couple days. I don't remember. Like I just wanted to like get myself used to starting to read the Bible, I guess. So I would read very, very little. Literally one verse, maybe a couple verses, and then I'll be like, okay. Yeah. And then it slowly got better and better to where it would be like a chapter at a time, one chapter at a time. I, I vividly remember being on the top bunk of my bunk bed, reading one chapter at a time. Sometimes it would be in the morning, sometimes it would be before I sleep, but one chapter at a time. Now back to the main porn masturbation issue. I don't exactly remember the turning point of porn and masturbation, but I know it came to a point where in my head I started thinking, what does God think of this? What does God think of porn? What does he think of masturbation? Like that started to come into my head more. And like, so the more and more I fell into lust, I was like, God, are you okay with this? God, are you okay with this? Oh, surely you're okay with this. You created this. That kind of thinking. So then I started to pray more and more. I started to read more and more. And then I started to see like content online more about like why porn is bad, why you shouldn't watch it, why masturbation is bad. Yeah, I can understand like both sides of the answer to masturbation being bad or not. People are like, it's a natural process. But I'm like, but no. you know. So I started leaning towards more like, no masturbation, no porn. I don't want to do this anymore. One like outlook I got on it, I was watching a video. This guy named Cliff Connectly. Bro, they say his last name's so weird. Cliff, I thought it was pronounced like Netchell or something, but it's like Cliff Connectly or something. And he was talking about like why porn is bad and like how these ladies in the video, you're practically like dehumanizing them, kind of treating them as like this object for your own pleasure. And to me, that made like perfect sense. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, you know. And from then, I started to turn to God more and the Bible, and started more reading about how bad lust is, how we as humans cannot fight lust. Ooh, I know. I'm pretty sure it talks about this in the Bible where man cannot fight lust, and so we are advised to just run from it. when I read that verse for the first time, I was like, wow, we really are powerless against this evil, you know? So then that's when my mind started to switch. That's when I was like, okay, I don't want to hurt God anymore. I don't want him to see me falling into this sin anymore. I want to show God that I love him. I want to be able to love others, not in jest. If you cannot tell by the change of scenery, it is now a new day. It is now the morning. Where is it? There it is. It is now the morning, the next morning. The whole rest of the video I was recording last night, like around 1 or 2 a.m. But I finished the recording. I finished saying everything I wanted to say. And then I looked down at the microphone that I'm holding in my hand. And normally you see this little green light, right? That tells you it's on. When I went to look back at the mic, it was off. So then I'm like, wait a minute. Was this off the whole time? I don't know if I turned it off. I don't know if it just died. But then I went to look back at the final recording, which was like 30 minutes long. And only the first 10 minutes had audio. Like after 10 minutes, the rest of the 20 minutes were completely mute, completely silent. I was so mad. I just went to sleep. I was sad because I was reading, or not reading. I was watching the video back, and I was like trying to read my lips to see what I was talking about. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I don't remember. But so I've been watching the rest of the videos, and I kind of have a better gist now. So I'll probably just go from there. So where I left off with like how porn and masturbation being bad, this whole mindset, it got pretty bad for me. Having had this addiction since like middle school, since 6th grade, for like 8 years, all the way till college, I was so used to seeing women in like on like this perspective. Like, it was really bad. I was so used to watching porn and just so that was like I had a very perverted mindset. So, kind of summarizing how I moved forward with wanting to free myself from this porn addiction that I had. I wanted to be done with it. I didn't want to be like in these handcuffs anymore, because that's what it really felt like. It felt like it was a struggle that I didn't even know was possible for me to overcome. I thought it was like always going to be something that was going to be there for my whole life. It was pretty scary. The more resolved I felt to want to get over this addiction and free myself like from these shackles, basically, the more I tried to fight it. The more I tried to fight this lust and this desire. And the more I tried to fight, the more I realized without God how powerless I really was. You know what they say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I can attest to that for sure. I apologize if this story gets all scrambled and mixed up. I truly don't know how much was lost in last night's footage because it was 20 minutes of footage. I wonder how much I talked about. I know I said a lot. So trying to fight this lust and this desire and this urge on my own was very unsuccessful. I would always find myself just turning back to it because it kind of felt like an everyday need. It had been going on for 8 years straight, every day for 8 years. So if one day I suddenly just decided to stop trying, like my body would reject it. It would be like, no, you need this. That's what it felt like. And so this built up a fear within me. I started to think that I would never be able to get over this, even the more that I grow up, the more that I age, the more that I move on in life. I felt like I would be stuck with this, even when I didn't want to be stuck with it. Dude, it even got so bad where I was starting to think, I was like, you know, even if I get married later on and I have a wife, am I still gonna be watching this stuff? Like, what am I just gonna be like sitting in a closet somewhere watching this? Like, it got bad. It really felt like there was no way out for me. So one day, when I'm out in college in my dorm, I had just fallen again. I had just fallen into this sin again. And like, as I was walking back to my room, I started crying. I was sobbing because I was really scared. I was like, I'm never gonna get over this. I'm always gonna be stuck with it. I was super duper scared. And so, as I'm walking into my room, like, my first instinct was to pray to God. I had no idea what else to do. I I realized that I did not have the strength on my own to get over this. So I immediately prayed to God right then and there. I don't exactly remember what the prayer was about, like the words that I said, because this was like less than 2 years ago. But, you know, admitting that I can't do this on my own, God help me. I See, I hit the power button. I don't know if it's off. Let's see. So apparently there was a whole other section that I just recorded that did not pick up the audio from this microphone, but from the phone microphone. And I'll leave that. I don't care. But yeah, I was sobbing, just praying to God. God help me. I cannot do this on my own. I have no idea what to do. Please save me. Just admitting to God that I don't have the strength to do this myself. I need him. At that point I had never turned to God so strongly that way. There had never been like such an like confession like that. So that was like a first time for me. I didn't really know what I was doing. All I knew was that I was scared and I needed help. And God was the first person that I thought of going to. So I prayed. And around this time was actually the time of Lent. So growing up, Lent in our family was like for 40 days, our parents would give up meat. Was it meat every Friday? I don't remember. All I know is that for Lent, you had to give something up. So around this time, when I'm on my own at college, I looked at the calendar and saw that Lent was about to come soon. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to give something up for 40 days this year. Let's give up porn. Let's try and stop this and have Lent be this kind of Kickstarter to help me release from these chains. And so during these 40 days, like, I had to, like, there were certain apps like Twitter that would, even when you don't want to see this stuff on there, you see this stuff on there. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to scroll and look at posts. Why am I seeing this right now? So, like, even things like that, I had to kind of eliminate the desire from its source, uproot it, like, I don't even know if uproot's the right word, but yeah. So little things like that, I had to delete that app. Even like I had friends on Twitter that I talked to all the time, and so that was my main reason for using the app. But then the more and more that I saw all this stuff on there that I didn't want to, I was like, okay, this something has to be done. Like, if I really want to get over this, then I'm gonna have to do something about this. So then I just had to delete the app. I had to remove the temptations, you know. So anything on my phone that would even be like the smallest bit suggestive, I kind of just got rid of it. just deleted it. Any apps, any accounts on Instagram that you follow. I just unfollowed it, like just get that off my feed. And it was really hard. It was really hard in the beginning. The more I tried to disconnect, the stronger the feeling became. And in these moments, I was very resolved to not fall into it. So, what I did, whenever I felt the need to turn back, I would start praying, immediately start praying, like just out loud, my voice, like, God help me. I would pick up my Bible. I would immediately walk over to my desk, pick up my Bible, and just start reading. Just anything to get my mind off of it, to get my mind off that temptation. Or I would go to the floor and start doing push ups, get my body moving, keep me active, keep me busy, shift my mind from that desire and that temptation. These three things really helped me hold myself back when first letting go. And I can say the first couple months letting go are the absolute hardest. Like the first maybe 3 months are the absolute worst, 3, 4 maybe. The absolute worst trying to let go, because that's when the urge to fall back into it is the strongest. But once you get over that initial hurdle, it's literally smooth sailing from there. I literally had an entire mindset change to where, the more I filled myself with the word of God, the more that I prayed to God, the more that I turned to God, the more that I would think about God. And the more that I involved myself with God, the less and less I thought about this temptation, the less and less I thought about going back, watching porn, masturbating, and all that. So it was that initial hurdle is most definitely the hardest to get over. But once you do, it's golden. It's super smooth, real easy, I'd say. For me at least. That's when things started getting a lot easier. Like I didn't even want to watch or do those things anymore. Those it wasn't a need or want for me. And I truly thank God every single day for getting me out of that rut, because I know I could not have done it without him. And ever since then, I'm going to church, thanking God, continuing my journey with God for the rest of my life. I don't ever plan on turning away from God, seeing how much He helped me. After truly experiencing this love that God has shown me, I feel like I feel like what else is there to do but love Him back? He is, I have felt so much love that my natural response was just like to love Him back. You feel love, you give love. God is amazing. The triune God. That's pretty much my story. How God has saved me from porn and masturbation, this addiction that I struggled with for 8 years, that I tried to fight on my own but couldn't. I turned to Him in my time of need, and boy, did He answer. Did He answer. I wanted to make this video to show others that there is a way out. It does get better. Now, everyone that's struggling with this, your solution might not all be the same. There are probably some people out there that got rid of their addiction without God. Me personally, I don't think I could have done it without God. But I just wanted to share my story with any of you out there who may also be struggling with this same situation that I went through. And so I just want to let you know that this worked for me. Maybe it can work for you. When I moved back into my new school at my new dorm right here, right now, I met my new roommates. And in one of the first weeks, I sat here at this table, at this chair, and my roommate sat on the couch across the room. And I gave him my testimony as I am to you guys right now. I told him my story. And I really liked that he was so willing to listen to my story and we were able to talk about our faith and what God is to us. And I had always thought about making this video because I feel like my story is very relatable. It's very common. I know there are others out there that are dealing with the same thing. I'm just really glad that I'm here recording right now because I do want to share this story with those out there. So I hope this helped in some way. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want to share your story, go ahead and put them down there as well. Completely open to that. I'm willing to have a discussion with you guys there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.